Homies, it's good to see you. Today was super relieving, and no, I did not hit any crazy weights. Don't get excited. It's fine. You got to take some days to relax. And obviously, lifting isn't technically relaxing, but I'm so used to driving my body to the absolute brink that, when I do some light recovery days, oh man, it is a weight lifted off my shoulders while putting certain amounts of weights on my shoulders. The biggest thing for me is anytime I'm going back and forth between snatch or clean and jerk and it's not the main heavy day, or bench and squat. I only do one heavy day each a week for those. So on the alternating day, I did heavy squats this part of the week, I'm going to do light bench so I don't overdo it. I got to kind of even out how hard I'm going so that I don't burn out my fatigue before I'm able to do my maximum potential, And I will say, especially for bench, it's very beneficial for me to do my light bench day in the first half of the week. Because, squatting is definitely way harder because it's so full body. I go full core numb when I go that hard, especially after not squatting for a week. But I like it because that full body numbness, that full burn from the squat, the first time getting back in, kind of fully reconditions me really quickly to be full body ready when it comes to my trunk, my low back and my core for anything, especially with Olympic lifting. Because even though my quads and my arms were fully burnt out today, my low back a bit too, my trunk for the most part was able to hold the weights really well, and I was able to focus mostly on technique today since all the strength was gone. And again, doing the lighter bench first is better for me because I can't rely on my full body to drive the weight up. It's mostly upper body. When you're driving, you get the little leg pump and you got to lock in your back and your lats and your core as much as you can, but it's not like a squat where every single ounce of your body is driving it upward. A bench is solely on your shoulders and everything else just gives it that little extra oomph to try to get it through the sticking point. So if I go too heavy and I burn out too quick, the moment you burn out a bench press, you are not going to be able to do shit. I will tell you what, on a squat, you can really drive through because, the quads start to go, so you rely on your core. The core starts to go, so you rely on your low back. Low back starts to go, so you rely on your upper back. Start relying on your arms a little bit. Your traps, everything supports the squat up. And there's a priority system to where every time something starts to fail, something else kicks in to save it. On the bench, the moment you start failing, all you've got is your upper body to really stick through it. You just got your shoulders, your triceps, your forearms, your chest, whatever. But everything else just holds your body's positioning as strong and as compressed as it can. But once you get that initial leg drive and that tight core off the bottom of the bench press, off your chest, you can't do really anything else from the waist down. For me, it was pretty good today. I'm honestly very happy with it. It's one of those days where you get to really, like I said, you get to really hone in on the technique specifically, and not because I'm trying to. I am always trying to do better with my technique, but I don't like overthinking it because then you just start making stupid mistakes that you didn't realize were there or shouldn't have been there in the first place because you're just doing too much, quite frankly. You just got to lift the way you've always been lifting and just do your best. Whatever happens is gonna your mind muscle connection and your experience is gonna take over versus the logic you're trying to put behind the lift. You can't really think about it when you're whipping it over your head that fast. So for me, it's like a involuntary technique day because I have to put my strengths away. My main muscle groups in my arms, my back, my legs, everything's fried. So when it comes to holding it as stiff as I can and getting underneath, I can't just overpower my technique with my shoulder strength or my leg strength when driving it through the third pull. I have to fully hone in every part of the whip specifically, and I can't really feel much pulling or driving through the legs up that I normally do. I'm not full body numb or anything like I would be on the squat, but it's its own similar kind of feeling where because my muscle groups are so sore, I can't fully contract them to get the hardest pull or whip possible, or especially getting into the ass to grass position on the catch. When your quads are sore, that is a bitch to push through. Your quads are going to feel like they're stretching till they nearly snap in a good way. You'll know if it's pain or not. But all in all, really happy with it. It's a good, because I couldn't lock in my low back as much, I definitely started with my butt slightly higher than normal. I like to normally have it slightly lower with my chest pumped through a bit more. But when the low back's done, you gotta rely on different parts of your technique, and it allows me to hone in those aspects in a different way that I'm not able to do on days where I'm peaked. Even though I'm going to lift better while I'm peaked, there's ways that I'll never get to work on technique because I'm so strong because of all the conditioning. Being too strong can sometimes lead you to ignoring or overcomplicating what technique is actually necessary, or what needs to be worked on. So today, because it was literally all technique, and I went up to 195 for a triple for the recovery. Yeah, it felt pretty damn heavy because mentally and partly physically it doesn't feel difficult. It's just the fact that because I can't use my shoulders or my legs or my back, it feels just as intense and passionate, but it's not stressful because I know for a fact I can do it. That's kind of why I like setting up the workouts this way, where I do one heavy day and then one recovery day, or vice versa, so that when I know for a fact I have a certain amount of weight or a certain amount of technique, or just the speed at which I whip under the bar on my heavy day can give me that boat of confidence that leads me to believe that I absolutely have every single lift after that for the rest of the week. Bench press was pretty in the middle. I don't want to overshoot it. It's because I've been gone for a week. Obviously, I haven't benched in 8-9 days now, and that will take you down. Your bench press, when you're an Olympic lifter, is not going to be primed nearly as much, nearly as often, and not for nearly as long after you've done a training cycle. Because I only can bench twice a week without overdoing it for the sake of my shoulders or my pecs, and I also don't want to overdo my bench because I am primarily an Olympic lifter. It's not worth doing so much more because it would eventually and inevitably take down my strength in the lifts that I care the most about, which is a snatch and clean and jerk. It's always such a weird first day back, which is why I'm really glad I got to recover today and do light stuff, because the drive just doesn't feel the same that first lift back in. You're pushing through all that soreness and a lack of, stability, I guess you could say, because my bench has always been a little funky. I have one arm that's longer than the other by a little bit, so typically a little bit of weight tries to shift on my left shoulder, which, if I go too heavy, creates issues, but for the most part, I've got it under control because I don't do that anymore, But that doesn't mean it still has its drawbacks, because the time off is going to make it to where I'm using a lot more shoulder, especially on a day where my main muscle groups are so burnt out and my core was absolutely shredded yesterday. It's kind of hard to hold a bench whatsoever, because you need the main shoulder strength in order to just hold it steady and fully drive through it all the way, along with your pec drive. But if you can't lock your back into your lats into your back while compressing your spine and your core, it's really, really difficult to get a really solid drive out of the hole, especially with me doing a more narrow grip. So regardless of it, they did look like pretty good sets. Even if it didn't feel the best, they were great. It's what I know needs to happen in order to make that next step, because trust me, when I get to my next workout, and I think 3-ish days from now, whenever I have my next bench day, it'll be a 3x6 at 295. And I'm telling you, it doesn't seem like I did much of anything today, but this little bit of reintroduction and reconditioning into the bench press is going to be all I need to give my body that little itch, that little memory jogger, to get it back to where it needs to get that full drive and that confidence of allowing that pressure to be put on my upper body, because I'm not really used to it. I'm so used to allowing my full body to pick up a weight that when I have to shift that to mostly upper body, it can make it feel way off balance or a lot more complex than it really is. Most of the time, my bench is really even, really solid, really strong, but it feels slightly imbalanced because of how hard I go in the Olympic lifts. But I'm still happy with it. 255 for a 3x6 recovery day is pretty solid. Nothing crazy, for sure, but that's what it's supposed to be. It's what gets me back in the door, gets my first step moving to where I can start imagining a better and higher goal for the rest of this week and program cycle. Physically, I'll give it a flat 8. Very flat 8. Not in a bad way. It was still a good day, and an 8's still a great score. But again, I'm tired, quite frankly. That's why I do these recovery days. They help so much in allowing me to just fully relax for once. You know, give myself that break I really need. Because, damn, dude, it's abysmal when you got to force your core and your stretched out muscles in a position that it does not want to go into. But I locked it in pretty well. The form was great. It's good technique work that'll carry on for the rest of the week. So I'm going to take it as a win either way. Mentally, solid 8.3 for sure. Yeah, nothing crazy. I wasn't super hype or anything, but it was actually fun. And I got to give it its own hype and its own passion in its way because I couldn't go in and just be like, oh, I'm going to lift heavy raw, you know? It's not so much of a caveman, 8-man lifting kind of day. It's more of I want to do better on these lighter weights when I'm the most dead, because pushing through the most sore days helps you so much in the aftermath of what your fatigue is going through. I'm telling you, there's so many people that will go to the gym and they will feel an ounce of soreness, or, you know, when it's your first day back in a while, or if you've never really worked out consistently, you're going to be super sore and burnt out, and you know, your muscles are going to feel like they can't bend when you get back in the next day. But I'm telling you, it's not worth sitting at home and just waiting around. I'm not telling you to go in and lift heavy or lift normally. You know, this is part of my normal cycle, so this feels light and easy for me today. But when it comes to pushing through these sorest days, the most sore your muscles are going to be, it allows that lactic acid and the blood to start flowing back through your muscles and your joints. Because if you stop the moment you get sore and everything feels super constricted and you can't feel as mobile, that's the day where you need to try to at least get the mobility going. You know, at least do a full body stretch, or just even just the barbell. I don't care, just something to get the body moving. Because once you get the blood and the lactic acid flowing through it again, you'll get used to it. And that little bit, like that, those first few sets, sure, are gonna suck. They're tough, and you got to really put your body in a position it's telling you it doesn't want to be in. But if you're not in pain, I'm telling you, you got to push through the discomfort a little bit. That's part of the sport. Discomfort is what we live for and we push through in this kind of a thing. It's what makes you better and what makes you more confident in the next step. Because I did this today, I'm going to be so much better off tomorrow, or not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, after I rest, when I have my heavy clean and jerk day. Because now all my full body is now fully conditioned, and to an extent. I've done everything once, and I've done it to the extent of where I have pushed to the limit. I have done technique work. I have done relaxing kind of day, and I've also pushed through the soreness that stiffens your body up the most. You know, when you sit at home and you just take a big breather, and again, if you need the day, actually need it, and you know you need it, you'll know. But if you're sitting there kicking yourself because you think you don't deserve to sit at home and you should be in the gym, I'm telling you, you'll know. That's how I always say, you'll know if you deserve something for how much work and hard dedication you've been putting in. Everybody knows if they put in enough. I know that today I put in enough because I did exactly what I wanted to do, and I did the most and the best I could with the best passion I had for today's workout, you know? And even if I could have done more, that's not what the goal was today. So have your own goals. Give yourself a positive level of progression relative to yourself so that you can build upon it and actually tell yourself, I deserve a day off. Or tell yourself, I deserve a light day. Something like that. You know, it gets you back in and gets you stronger. But But you got to really let your body become mobile again while it's wanting to constrict, because you will stiffen up so bad once you allow the soreness to go away, and because you've taken this whole day to do nothing, and then the stiffness kicks in because you didn't burn the lactic acid back through your muscle or the blood through your joints. And then when you go back in after you've stopped being sore, you're just going to become sore all over again on top of being less mobile, you know? Of course, eventually you will get used to it as long as you're consistent, but as long as you're consistent, you know? And most people don't want to be. And so if you're not consistent and you're doing that kind of training, you ain't going to be the mobile person you want to be. But anyway, I got to get to work. I'm going off too much, but I appreciate you guys hanging out either way. Let me know how the lifts and the lives have been going. Love hearing about it. You know. Big rest day tomorrow. Going to eat as much food as I physically can and just enjoy myself. Damn it. But other than that, I love you guys. I'll be back day after tomorrow. See ya. Bye.